Marci, you and I met at Activator Dealer Solutions, part of our work there, and we clicked instantly as you, as a VP of Customer Success or Client Service at Activator, with this idea of continuous value discovery is just as important in your success process as your sales process. Would love to have a conversation today about that, but start just sharing with our audience, why is that so important to you?
Yes, and thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and have this conversation. But the discovery conversation should never end. It's very important at the beginning when we're building that relationship with our customers, but it needs to be a continuous conversation because so much changes constantly in the market and with our customers' expectations and customer behaviors. Our work is never done. And that's part of why I'm so passionate being in this business of customer success, because our work is never done. And it should always be challenging. We should always be pushing ourselves and our customers to do better and be better. So we know that their goals are always changing. The market is always shifting. And so that's why those conversations need to keep happening, so that way we continue to innovate, make ourselves better and stronger. And it keeps it fun and exciting at the same time, but it's a lot of work, but it's well worth it because, staying on top of what our customers need and just always being ready and able to pivot based on what's needed.
Yeah, I love that. Focusing on the customer need. One of the things we see with success teams, sometimes they'll say, well, I don't want to be salesy, right? Yeah. And if I heard you correctly, and be great to hear you elaborate, it's you kind of teach your team, this is about the customer need, and you have to do discovery continuously around that need.
Yeah, that's right. That's why we are in the business of customer success, not just service, not just support. Yes, we want to offer outstanding service and support. That's part of being in customer success, but we are in customer success because we have this very vested interest in making sure our customers are successful. And so it is this partnership, this consultative partnership that we have with our customers to make sure that we always understand, what does good look like to them? What do they define as being successful? And it's not going to be the same for every customer, nor should it be. There's no, one cookie cutter approach to this is what success is and this is how you're going to be successful. It needs to be that mutual understanding, us understanding our customers, communicating with them, talking to them, having the conversation and not being afraid of having those conversations. So that way we understand, what is it that our customers define as success? What does good look like? So that way we can work together on a strategy to get them there.
Nice. And the other thing I've heard you say that I think is, I wish more success teams did when they think about you call it a consult call, and you do it monthly. Other teams have a QBR, quarterly business review, or a strategic program review. This idea that you should go in, I hear you say to your team with 3 suggestions, because sometimes they don't know what they want to do next. And so would love to know, how did you come to that? How did you come to that approach?
It's just always a good idea to be prepared when you're about to talk to your customers. Of course, I don't think anyone would argue with the value of being prepared, but the reason why I say come to the meeting with 3 ideas in mind is because it all goes back to that communication and that partnership. It's not just us being a vendor to our customers, it's us being a partner with our customers and really building that relationship and knowing that discovery never ends. And so if we know from the beginning of that relationship that we started with our customer, if we know that their ultimate goal is to increase revenue by 20%, okay, great, then we know that that is their overall strategy that they're working toward. So then every conversation that we go into with that customer, we should have 3 ideas in mind of, okay, here's what I've noticed that's happening recently in the market, some industry trends, some things that I think could really resonate with that customer's audience. We're in marketing and that's what we do for our customers. So come to that call or that meeting with your customer with ideas already in mind. So that way you're coming to the table with something. You're not just showing up empty-handed, because at the end of the day, our customers are looking to us to be those experts, and they don't want to have to reinvent the wheel. They want to know what works, what ideas do you have? And of course, we're always, available and ready to accommodate and pivot if that overall strategy needs to change. But at least we are coming to that meeting as prepared as possible with some ideas that we think might fit into their strategy at that particular moment. And it could be something such as utilization of the system that they're using, in terms of our products and services. Maybe we need to help them with some coaching. We've identified some areas for improvement. Or maybe we think that there's part of their database that they're not currently reaching with the marketing that we provide to them. And so we have some additional products that could help them fill that void with who they need to reach next. So just coming prepared with any kind of suggestion to keep that conversation going. And it also shows that you're invested in the customer's success. You've given this some thought, and you want to carry on that conversation with them.
Yeah, I mean, in sales over the last decade, it's become really fashionable to talk about being a trusted advisor.
Yeah.
And you're 100% right that you should be even more a trusted advisor in customer success as sales, because you know a lot more about them. So your ability to make targeted suggestions or recommendations is a lot higher. So I love that focus. And when you take this approach, continuous discovery, coming to the calls, the consult calls as a trusted advisor, are there specific areas of recommendation? Are there specific things that you want your team to prep and cover, specific ways it helps the partner and helps on the revenue side?
I mean, we definitely have different reports and metrics that we look at, but the thing that I really recommend to everyone in customer success organizations is that don't just think that your metrics that you have defined as far as what good looks like are going to be the same metrics that are going to resonate with everyone in your audience. Your customers are going to define success in many different ways. And that is one of the most important conversations that you should have with your customers when you're building that relationship. It's also going to help you establish your credibility and your trust with them. Our customers don't want to just hear me ramble on and on and on about metrics that I think are important. They want to hear us talk about the metrics that they also see as being important to what they need at that moment in time. And once you've established what those particular metrics are that are important to your customer, and we can agree that that's going to be our focus, then every conversation that we have from there on out should be suggestions and consultations about those metrics and how we can improve those metrics, improve those KPIs, and keep working toward that strategy that we've mutually agreed upon. So there's no cookie cutter approach, but there are ways that we can leverage our expertise and our past experiences to, drive those conversations. But it really needs to be just something that is part of the strategy that has been defined on a case-by-case basis between us on the customer success team and our customer.
Yep. And I assume the first thing is, those metrics mutually agreed to are making sure we're getting the right level of utilization.
Absolutely.
To secure the renewal, so to speak, so the continued relationship.
Oh, yeah. I mean, first of all, you have to build that credibility and trust with your customers so that way they believe what you're telling them. And then once you have established that credibility and that trust, then sure enough, your customer will be taking your advice. They'll be using the system. In our case, we do have a system that we want them to log into and use. And we know that once we have been able to coach our customers, gotten them to believe in our system, really see the value for themselves, then we know that they're going to be using that system on a daily basis. It's baked into their process. And so that's when we know that we're at a good a very good point, because we have them working our system daily with their process. And so we're able to keep monitoring that. So we know if someone is starting to fall off and maybe we need to jump right in right away with some more coaching. But then once we have them at that level where they are using the system, they're very strong with their usage, then that's when we can have some more fun conversations as far as, okay, so you're seeing results with where you are right now. Here's how we can get you even greater results through, maybe that is an upsell conversation at that point, or maybe it's some additional utilization type coaching. But it's all about taking it in steps to make sure that we're not overwhelming the customer. We're there alongside them every step of the way, and just working toward that overall strategy that we've established at the beginning of the relationship.
Nice. So we agree on the metrics. Ideally, you want to get a certain pattern of utilization, which says they're getting the value, they're logging in every day, they're building it into their process. It sounds like part of those recommendations then is if that we come to the meeting with is if utilization is good, we're having success there. There are other ways we could have success that sort of sets up a upsell conversation, as it were. And in your case, that could be, going from working on service marketing to sales marketing, or adding mailers to email marketing, or some kind of expansion of the relationship.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's where those metrics are really going to be a very important part too, because again, it's not just what I think good looks like, it's what does my customer think good looks like, and reviewing that every time we're on the phone or in person with one another to make sure that we're still aligned and we're still on the same page. Because if I'm over here thinking, oh, well, this customer is performing really well, usage looks great, they're hitting all their KPIs. But if the customer doesn't see that value or believe in that, that's where we need to really keep the communication going to get realigned. What adjustments do we need to make so that way our customer is seeing the value again? So much of it comes down to communication. I just can't stress that enough, because it goes along with understanding what the customer sees as, what does good look like? What does success look like? What are the metrics that are important to them? And just having that conversation as far as, how does your team feel about these products, services? Are they seeing the value? And if they aren't, to not be afraid of that conversation, but to welcome that feedback, because that's where some of the best conversations that I've ever participated in have been from customers who maybe started to not see the value as much anymore. And we could have easily just thrown in the towel, walked away. Okay, well, sorry, it didn't work out, but we didn't. That actually, we see that as a challenging opportunity for us to engage in further conversation to say, okay, well, what do we need to do next? Let's figure out a plan for how we can get you back on track. And that's where it usually comes back to the utilization, or possibly, getting some other products or services in that are a better fit for how things have shifted for them. But it's so much about having communication with the customers and not being afraid of having those conversations.
Yep. Love it. So if your team does surface a need for an upsell or renewal opportunity, walk through how do they work with the sales team on that? Do they, who's responsible for commercializing, so to speak?
Yeah. So, really so it comes down to every consultation and conversation that we're having with our customers, we are doing temperature checks every step of the way, as far as really keeping an eye on, okay, is this customer happy or are they not happy, which goes back to the whole utilization conversation that we've been having, and areas for coaching that where we may need to step in. But when we are starting to identify that this customer is actually very, very happy, we actually see areas where we can help them increase and continue to excel their results. But that's when we do collaborate. I like to call it a close collaboration with our sales team, because with our sales team, they're closely involved in our accounts as it is. So even if they aren't able to attend all of the calls that we're having with the customers, we're still keeping them in the loop every step of the way with how the customers are performing, how they're feeling about the product. Are they happy? Are they using the product? And so on the success side of the organization, we tee up those conversations by explaining to our customers, here's some other opportunities that we see that you might be interested in. We offer these other products. This is going to help you increase your reach of your customer base by 50%. And so that way, when we are bringing in that salesperson into that actual conversation, it's more of a natural kind of, I don't know, a way to present the offering than to just come across as completely salesy. Again, we're in the world of customer success. We're doing this because we have a vested interest in making sure our customers are successful. So not only are we helping identify for areas for improvement, but we're also looking for how we can help our customers continue to win and to excel even more than they were previously. So instead of looking at it so much as just some salesy effort to try to get them to buy more, no, it's a way for us to continue helping them win and to excel even more than they were before.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it, is like, hey, if we've already won together, how do we win more together? And so to your point, I'm not trying to sell you something, but from a success point of view, here's something we could consider that would make you even more successful.
Yeah.
And they can say no, but the framing is very different than, hey, I'm just trying to make more money from you. No, I'm trying to help you win more. And, you can say yes or no.
Right. And that's where that credibility and that trust really comes into play, because I wouldn't want anyone on a customer success organization to just go up to one of our customers and be like, okay, well, I realize you're not completely satisfied with the product, but I did want to see if you would be interested in buying this new product. No, we need to first establish that credibility and that trust and know that we are aligned with what our customer is trying to achieve. And once we are able to get them to that point where they are seeing the value, they're hitting their metrics that we had set at the beginning of the quarter or the year or the month or whatever it may be, and they're seeing success and they're feeling good about that, that is a great time to bring into the conversation an opportunity for ways to help them excel even further. Not to mention if they have other clients that they talk to who might be interested in our services as well. People love to talk about the products and services that they're happy with. I tell people all the time about my gym that I love to go to. Oh, hey, you should really sign up at this gym. I love it. It's that same kind of concept. If our customers are happy, then you need to at least ask the question if they would be willing to provide a referral or introduce you to another customer out there who could benefit from the same success that they're seeing.
Yeah. So I love that, because we know that, Salesforce did a study years ago that referral leads, close at 300 times the average lead. Right.
Yeah.
It was I don't know, I can't remember exactly the data, but they close at a much higher rate. And the way you just said it is, when people are having success, they love to talk about it.
Yeah.
And love to be innovators. So it sounds like that's one of the things you will ask your team to prep, assuming, that the success is there.
Right.
Then to prep where an introduction, a peer introduction might be possible.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. We never want to come across as tone deaf. If our customer is struggling in their own ways, especially if they're struggling with our products or services and not seeing the value, then that is not the appropriate time to be having those kinds of, upsell conversations or expansion conversations. But once you have reached the point where that credibility and trust is there with your customer and they are seeing the success, then it is absolutely an appropriate time to bring up a conversation about referral and expansion.
Yeah. And the way I heard you say it is, hey, are there others in your network, or do you have peers that might want to experience similar success?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And especially with the industry of automotive that I work in, we have so many of the dealerships who have other locations within their dealership group. And so they all want to be able to, when they want to talk about the products and the offerings and the services that are working well for rooftops over here, and how can we show that success across the entire group. So it's just a matter of having that conversation, because I think you might be surprised with how it can really, show a lot of success and go in the direction that you were hoping.
Yeah, nice. Marci, it's a very well articulated strategy, which I think any success leader or success team could put in place. So thank you for sharing it with us.
Oh yeah. Thank you for having me.